Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how best to deal with that 2.2 power gain path in variant 3. I know it's a super annoying path with 200% improved power gain and spite and a lot of annoying matchups. Namely, the most annoying ones probably are Doctor Strange, Symbiote Supreme and the Mephisto towards the end of the fight. However, so first things first, ideal option for most of the fights on this path is Dr. Octopus, because it's just superb easy power control, cheese heavy spam in the corner. You don't have anything to worry about in this fight. One thing I do want to notice, every time we reapply the power lock, he does gain a slither of power. Therefore, you do need to be careful when he actually does reach 1 bar of power. Bait that out and carry on business as normal, basically. But yeah, Dr. Octopus, fantastic option. My Doc Ock is only rank 3 and even he is dealing with this fight really quickly without any issues. And yeah, probably the best kind of single answer for most of this path anyways. And it's extremely easy to use, so definitely Dr. Octopus is really good out for this. But if you do not have Dr. Octopus, then we're going to check out what are your other options. And also worth noting that Dr. Octopus obviously is tech, therefore he does not get any attack penalty. And next best option to deal with this path is Ghost, just because Ghost has the hood synergy, so she can eat all the level 3s you want to. If you have to, you're not gonna have much of an issue there, and the fight is fairly simple. I'm using 4-star Ghost with no suicide masteries, so it's far from being perfect, and it's still not a hard fight. Even a 4-star Ghost can definitely do this one. Now, I will mess up at some point in this video, but it's going to be my silly intercept mess up, nothing else kind of there. But yeah, Ghost is perfect. You just need to make sure you are phasing whenever opponents get 3 bars of power, and that's about it. You just need to be aggressive, completely ignore the power bar for most part, and you have nothing to worry about. Just make sure you're in the phase when they get to level 3, and the fight will be simple, easy. You will take no damage and you have no problems dealing with Doctor Strange or any of the other guys on this path. But yeah, I want to do this with the 4-star Ghost because if you have a maxed out 5-star or a 6-star, you probably don't need to watch this video and you know exactly what to do. But I just wanted to show that a 4-star Ghost is still perfectly sufficient to deal with this piece of content without much trouble or much issues. And yeah, so 4-star Ghost, also a great answer. Same as 4-star Dr. Octopus, by the way. My 5-star was only rank 3, so it's pretty much the same as 4-star. Okay, so next option. Next option obviously is Vision, but then this time we're juicing Vision up with Captain America Infinity War synergy. And that is going to help us immensely, especially because my Vision isn't high signature. So what does Captain America Infinity War synergy do? It basically power drains opponents for all of their remaining power whenever they throw a special attack. That means every single time they use a special attack, even if it triggers spite, they just lose all their power straight after the special attack. What is awesome, it also kind of drains the power that they gain during the special attack. So whenever they throw a special attack, they basically will reset to 0 power regardless of what power level they had at any given time. So it obviously goes in perfect with Vision's own power drain abilities, and therefore this fight all of a sudden becomes fairly manageable even with a low kind of level, signature level Vision. As we can see here, we don't really have like problems keeping up with that Doctor Strange power gain. We're always ready to power drain in case he does not throw a special attack, and even though Vision does not have the greatest damage output and you will end up taking a fair bit of chip damage, the fight is still fairly manageable. It's nothing overly tricky there. Just need to bait out your special attacks, take some chip damage, and that's about it. That synergy is gonna come incredibly handy, and once again that synergy is perfect for this just because they are for tech champions, and tech champions do not get the attack penalty. So Captain America Infinity War plus Vision basically makes any tech champion fairly viable choice for this path, which I'm going to demonstrate in my next fight. But as you can see here, 100 hits, rank 4 Vision, no boost, no suicides, just the Captain America Infinity War synergy, and we're dealing with this Doctor Strange just fine. Now obviously we will take quite a bit of chip damage if we have to take specials and block and stuff like that, but it's just something we have to deal with if you do not have Doc Ock or Ghost. Okay, so next fight is gonna be SpiderMan. Now SpiderMan has taunt, has some power control mechanics on his heavy attacks, but that's not really the point. This point is going to be just to showcase the synergy. Also, the assisted special attack away will come in handy from time to time. Now I'm gonna be playing far from perfect in this fight. I'm gonna take much more block damage than I should. However, it's just to show that tech champions with Captain America Infinity's War Synergy should have a fairly good time on this path. Just you still need to be careful to bait opponents' specials out at any given time. However, the fact that they lose all of their power after any special attack thrown at least is going to give you solid options to find openings and deal some damage instead of just being continuously forced to bait out special attacks. So yeah, that synergy is possibly one of the most valuable synergies in game when it comes to dealing with this kind of immense power gain path. And yeah, as we can see here, SpiderMan finished the fight off in 40 hits. Wasn't too difficult. We did take more chip damage than I would like. However, it's all kind of part of the game, I suppose. And then we can't obviously forget about our best power control options in a game. And if you have any of them highly ranked, then that's wonderful. And magic is like a perfect example, because once and if you get to your level 2, the fight is yours, the fight is sealed. You have nothing to worry about apart from messing up yourself, but the power is going to be under control. Now, it is worth mentioning again that all champions except tech lose 50% of their damage, so that is definitely going to be noticeable. And just because of that fact alone, using anything but tech champions typically will result in fairly long fights. They don't make the fights harder, they make them longer. However, magic is fairly good kind of champion to deal with prolonged fights just because of how much block damage Limbo can absorb and how dominant she is once she gets going. And yeah, so even though magic doesn't hit as hard as she should in any other given normal quest, magic has no problems closing out these fights, not triggering spite, not doing anything, because she doesn't have any buffs on her own. You don't need to dex. Once the first level 2 is in, the fight is yours. However, it will take a while, so you do need to be consistent when using magic, and ideally she should be at least like rank 4, because my magic is rank 5, and as we can see, 100 hits in, Doctor Strange still on 43% health. So all of these fights will be fairly lengthy using any other champions but tech champions. However, if this is a problem path you are struggling with, I don't think that having to do extra amount of hits should be the kind of problem that you're focusing on. Yes, it will take a bit longer with magic or any other champion from different classes. However, you will be able to get through without using all that many revives and potions and stuff. So yeah, don't forget about magic. Magic is still one of the greats when it comes to dealing with opponent's power, and she's extremely simple to use, so it's an easy fight. You just need to keep opponent in corner and just keep pounding away at them. But yeah, 163 hits, so definitely doesn't really compare to, let's say, Stark Spider-Man's 40, and Starky Spider-Man was at rank 4. Now, another champion that can deal with opponents that have massive power gain by not dealing with it can be Gwenpool, just because Gwenpool, if she's duped, she cannot die from special attacks. So our game plan here with Gwenpool is fairly simple. You can just eat level 3s all day long. Doctor Strange can Fate Seal you. That is also going to trigger your willpower heal. That is important because that means you are able to take some chip and parry damage after opponent's special 3s, even when you're on super low health. So it means the fight is fairly easily controlled. Also, obviously, Gwenpool has a random choice of stunning opponents, so occasionally you will go on like a nice stun train and can get many hits in before opponent is able to launch a special 3 attack. And yeah, that is how the entire fight pretty much going to go. You're gonna take Gwenpool, you're gonna hit opponent as ferociously and quickly as you possibly can. You can eat that level 3, you can survive it, and you can get back up there, and you can keep chipping away at this Doctor Strange. Now, once again, your damage is halved, so these fights aren't going to be the shortest ones. However, it's still perfectly viable strategy for many of the opponents and many of the fights in here. But nonetheless, if you do not have any of the better options, and if you do have highly ranked Gwenpool, she's still perfectly viable to be used for this. Just kind of like make her read the special 3s, be aggressive, deal as much damage as you can. Occasionally you will probably mess up and like eat one hit too many in blocks and die or something, but overall you should be able to get through this relatively cheaply, especially because Doctor Strange and Symbiote Supreme are probably the harder opponents on this path, as well as that Mephisto, but well, there are other options for the Mephisto. And yeah, so speaking of options for Mephisto, now Void's power petrified debuffs kind of work and doesn't at the same time here, just because when his petrifies are up, opponents will still be gaining power because you reduce the improved power gain basically, and you can't really touch the their original power gain. So as you can see here, we're gonna get 2 petrifies, and even though opponents gaining power in a slower rate than they normally would, they still continuously gain power. So no, Void is not really a perfect option for this. As we can see here, we had a Petrify on, he still had absolutely no problems getting to level 3. Now, if you have a rank 5 Void, is still not a bad option, especially if you combine him with like Heimdall synergy, because occasionally you might have to eat a level 3 here and there. And if you can survive it, you can still deal fair amount of damage to your opponent and keep his power kind of like relatively in check. But as we can see here, even with 2 petrifies, still gaining power doesn't stop it because of the way it interacts with improved power gain nodes. Now that doesn't mean that Void is not usable for this path. It just means Void will not do his magic wonder tricks as he often does with these power gain opponents. However, he's still one of the kind of more solid options to deal quite a lot of damage to opponent and still keep the fight in check. It's not perfect option anymore because of the way his petrifies interact with the improved power gain. And same would go with Captain America Infinity War. Captain America Infinity War, especially since you will probably want him on your team as it is because of his synergy with Vision or other tech champions, he also can be used to have like a relatively decent time dealing with some, especially because you will be eating chip damage throughout as you're clearing the fight. So you can also use Cap to kind of finish some fights out, because his Petrify will mitigate some of the power gain, but it will not solve all your problems. So you do need to be kind of careful what you do, when and why. But yes, Cap can still be a relatively good option. But yeah, that will be me